Bang on the midnight. Evening, people. Good morning. I know we're kind of late than usual, but tonight we've actually got Ghost Witches and Ghost Bitches together. As Forrest is Ghost Witches, but she's now part of us. But hey ho, she's Ghost Witches and she's PIH, and we've also got all the way from sunny Melbourne, where it's about 9 o'clock in the morning, as our friend Yvette, aka Ghost Bitches.
That's right.
Thanks for coming. And we've also got the lovely Sam, who slept late this morning, and that's why she's still awake just now. So we're all here. I hope everybody's good and well. So Yvette, how are you? Thanks for coming back, though. It's been a few months since
You're welcome. Early for me. I went out last night, so I'd normally still be in bed.
Well, on the sauce?
No, went to drag bingo, so it was good to be social again.
Good.
Didn't win, but it was fun. But I won these. Stickers.
Jimmy Queen.
Jimmy Queen. Yeah, it was fun. It was a good night out. It was a good night out.
So it was on the paranormal side in Australia. Are you still kind of locked? Are you still under restrictions? Are you able to get out and about?
No, we're free and easy now, which is really good. So we can go anywhere. Borders have opened up, which is good. So I'm planning a New South Wales trip. So hopefully I can do some filming up in New South Wales, which is going to be good because there's quite a few spots up there that I'd like to film at again anyway. So yeah.
So you're free to go anywhere basically then?
Pretty much. What about you guys? You're in lockdown, yeah? That sucks.
Yeah. Still in lockdown.
How long's it been now?
Over a year.
It's over a year now.
It's a year past the start of March.
That's crazy. You got to rise up, get out there.
Well, everybody else has been in lockdown. I've not been in lockdown because I work in the hospital, so I've been out through the full lot.
Yeah,
I need to be put into lockdown.
You'd be going crazy.
Oh, I know.
Well, we're home to end of May, no end of May. 28th of April, we're meant to be eased off. We can't leave Scotland, but we can go, kind of anywhere in mainland Scotland. But also we're home to England quite soon, but we don't know when that'll be. But 28th of April, we're out and about. We're let loose. Hopefully,
Yes.
Because
a few more weeks to go.
Doesn't help me though. I can't get to meet you guys.
I know because she's down south, she can't come up because she'll get stopped at the border and arrested and put in border prison. You know what I mean? And she'll be kept there indefinitely.
Could be worse. She could be jailed up here and get sent to Clannyville. Contonville.
Or Cornvale.
Contonville.
That's a women's prison event in Stirling in Scotland, and you really don't want to go there. I've never been in it myself. I've never actually been a guest.
It's called Cortonvale, but it gets called someone else.
Which we won't be saying, will we?
Eh?
Which we won't be saying.
No, of course not.
Hey, Australians say that word quite a lot.
Vocabulary.
It's got a whole different meaning down there, is it not?
Yeah, it's got all different connotations. It's great. It's one of those great words that we use. When I went to America, my friend was like, "You can't say that word here," because we use it so free and easy here. And it was like she just couldn't get her head around it because it's really offensive.
Your mate briefed me on it, Eddie. He said, they'll call you that word but it means you're a cool person. I was like, I can't get my head around that at all. 'Cause,
Yeah.
you know, English people just want to punch you in the teeth if you've called them that name. It's like Australians, it's like, hey!
Exactly. Yeah, it's a word that's freely used in Australia, and it has all different types of connotations. So I even
you
have
ever
it
had
tattooed
come
on me.
through the ghost box?
You've got it tattooed on you.
But in a good way. It's like, cheers. It's pretty good.
So, Yvette and Forrest are quite good friends. How did you meet? How did you?
How did I meet
How did
Forrest? Maybe you want to tell the story, Forrest? Because it was through a mutual friend of ours.
Oh yeah, right. Well, I was looking to come into Australia on my own, and it was quite a big thing for me. So I joined a Poms in Melbourne group, and I just got chatting to this guy Eddie, and he just seemed really sound. And he said, "Yeah, meet up." And he was over in Coburg, which wasn't far from where I was staying. So I met up with Eddie, and then we went to visit Yvette. And we spent the day together, didn't we? Had a barbie on the beach. My first Australian barbie at St Kilda.
Had a barbie on the
Christmas.
beach. That's right.
Yeah, Christmas
And we went
Day.
to do some ghost bitching, but Eddie was a bit funny about us getting out of the car. He's
Oh,
like,
bless
"No,
you.
it's private property." It's like, so, but you know,
The graveyard. Let us out.
yeah, it was. It
There was
was.
some good music choices in the car, though. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
Was it? No, it wasn't your music, was it? It was Eddie's music.
It was Eddie's.
It was Eddie's
I don't know
music.
what he was playing. But yeah, that's how we met, through a mutual friend.
Yeah,
And
man.
I was like, Forrest, you know, you got to be my UK Ghost Bitches correspondent. So she decided to do Ghost Witches, which is pretty good.
Complimentary, that.
Yeah.
She's good with Forrest. I love our Forrest.
Somebody got in.
Forrest is like you, Yvette, you know, and I say this with all respect, she's a bit nuts and eccentric, but
Nuts is good.
you know, nuts is
Nuts
good.
is
You know, who wants to be normal? I mean, look at her, Sam. You know, she's just a typical Scottish nuts. I mean, basically.
When me and Forrest start to bounce off each other, it's quite scary. Because we just go absolutely mental and just.
And Scott doesn't know what to say, does he? Scott just goes.
Scott flings a towel in. Poof, I'm off.
Who actually, Yvette, some of the conversations can go a bit south, if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Down night.
Very
I'll
much
tell you
so.
about that later.
And obviously, we've been all women on our teams except for Matthew in America. I'm the only guy. So when you're a guy on a team call with a bunch of females who are all talking stuff, you know, that's the only way I can describe it without going into too much detail. Let's say that Forrest usually starts it off. You know what I mean? He's usually the first one.
Yeah. Blame Forrest, that's fine.
Yeah, I am encouraged somewhat.
But as soon as Forrest starts, that tends to kick Sam off. You know, yeah,
I can't help it. I can't help it, Scott. I'm sorry. I don't even want to apologise for it. You know,
Me
you
and Forrest are
accepted
quite
me.
similar,
I am
so
here.
we have got the same sort of personality, so we just come out with something and it's like, oh, I was going to say that, but you said it first.
No, I'm going to say
my
something
bad.
worse.
Too funny.
Forrest, you don't need to. There's Adele. Hi, Adele. Chantel. Justin was under his away his bed. Sleep well, Justin. But Adele is saying find.
Your female side. He does that when he goes off air, when he puts his lipstick on and his wig.
Oh, do you not tell anybody? Seriously, it's nothing sacred. That's Friday night for me. I'll try and say my female side, Adele, but you know, I'm a Glaswegian, and we don't have many female sides to us.
Even the females on the female.
I was just going to say that. Even the females can't find a female side. You know what I mean? You ever come to Glasgow, you'll find out. But no, you and Forrest are very, very much alike. Do your friends find you kind of eccentric and nuts?
Pretty much.
Yeah, I've got like a 50-50. So I've got sort of people who seem to be inspired by my ability to make light of situations, but with a little bit of wisdom thrown in. And then I've got the other ones that, like Sam, I can just bounce off and be ridiculous, like the friend I live with. I mean, it's a bit here and there, really. So I've got half mad and half sane, kind of wishing they were mad. I'm working on them.
Yvette, how did you get into like the paranormal side?
I've been having experiences since I was a kid, and because I've played in punk bands for like over 20 years, or since I was a teenager actually, I actually started having weekends free. So I was like, all right, I need to reinvent myself. This is after I got hit by a forklift at work, so I couldn't play my music anymore.
Right.
So I had weekends free, and I was like, all right, being laid up on the couch. So I taught myself editing. I was like, well, I need to reinvent myself. So I was like, what's my other passion? It was like paranormal. So I was like, I'll start a YouTube channel. So that's why I started a YouTube channel.
Right.
So yeah, so I get to say that again.
How long ago did you start? Like your YouTube and that?
Just a couple of years ago, to get really into it. And this year I've just decided to try and upload once a week just to get it out there.
Mm-hmm.
So now we can roam around free. Now we're out of lockdown and all of that, so getting back to normal. So yeah, get to go out and go to a few different places.
Good.
So yeah,
So,
good.
I mean, there's a lot of teams in the UK. There's quite a few in Scotland. What's the teams like in? I forgot what you're again. You're in Australia. You're in Melbourne.
Yeah, there's quite a few teams around, and it's really good because they're up the east coast, so I get to see all the haunted spots in the east coast of Australia and over west in Perth and Western Australia and Adelaide as well. They've got quite a few paranormal teams. I just watched this show the other day. It was Adelaide's Haunted Horizons, and they filmed at the zoo because there was a death of a zookeeper, and they did a paranormal investigation at the zoo, and I thought that was a pretty good place to do one.
Different, isn't it? A zoo.
Yeah.
Quite different.
Who would have thought a zoo would be haunted? Not me. It's pretty cool.
No.
And you've got all your nice castles and stuff. We don't have that here.
I know, I was just going to say that. You won't have like many sort of ruins, like ancient ruins and sort of things, will you? Because it's
just a
like
young country. A young country. So, yeah, we don't have any of that, really. So that'd be fun to investigate some castles, I reckon. What's the most haunted castle you've ever... Have you done castles? You've done castles, yeah?
The most haunted that we've been in, or...
You've investigated.
In Ayrshire alone, there's quite a few like castles round about, but I'm originally from the Scottish borders, which is like further down south towards the English border, and down in the Scottish borders there tends to be a lot more like nomads and small holdings and things like that. So you've got a lot of like Normandys and things like this. So you've got like Hermitage Castle, you've got Drumlanrig House, things like that, which tends to have seen like a lot of battles and things.
Yeah, right.
My mum was actually brought up in a castle in a place called Stubbs, and that was a prisoner of war camp.
Wow.
She was brought up in that castle. My granddad was the keykeeper for the castle.
Wow.
So they had a lot of like Polish and American like soldiers and things there, and she always remembers to this day of being about 5-6-year-old, needing a toilet, so getting up to go to the toilet, but seeing two men sitting on a blanket in her bedroom, and they told her just to go back to bed and it was okay, but it was obviously a ghost. It was ghosts. It wasn't like real people, obviously, because there was no way they would have got in the castle to sit on their bedroom floor.
Yeah, wow.
I think that it's very strange.
I've heard Glam's castle is pretty haunted as well.
Glamis.
Aye.
Glamis Castle.
I think there's only been one paranormal team that's actually been in that castle, but they were only allowed in one section.
Yeah, apparently there was a lady that flung her child in the fire at Glamis Castle.
Oh, gross.
Apparently, that's one of the stories that goes on about there. That I think she'd had an affair with someone that was like higher up in the family or whatever. She was like a maid or a kitchen maid, and she fell pregnant and she flung the child into the fire.
Oh, that's horrible.
Oh, she did.
That's horrible.
There's
I've heard that place is pretty haunted.
I'd say the most haunted location in Scotland is most haunted city is Edinburgh.
Edinburgh,
I would say definitely. I mean, the history of Edinburgh goes back to, like I said, the 1100s. You know, the castle and what have you. The first castle was built in the 1100s. But there's evidence of settlements dating right back to the Iron Age in Edinburgh.
Wow.
You know,
it's such an old city. I remember walking around the cemeteries in Edinburgh and I was like, what the hell? Like there's death dates of 1100. You won't see that here in Australia at all.
And the thing with Edinburgh as well is that there's a town built on top of a town. So you've got, obviously...
Have you been underneath?
Yep.
Have you been underneath?
Yeah, wow. I have. I've been underneath.
I wish I was doing ghost pictures when I was in Scotland because I would have had a ball, I reckon.
I've been in the vaults a few times. Into the vaults a few times. It's something else.
There's always time to come back.
What did you experience there?
It was strange because it was some of the areas you felt nothing at all. But then in other areas it was like very, very oppressive. You knew that there was something there, but you weren't quite sure where. They had a pagan circle in the centre of one of the caves, basically in the vaults, that had to be closed down due to negative entities. So what they done was the Wiccans and the pagans, they closed it down and made the stone circle to keep all the negative energy inside the circle. And it states that you can't walk in the middle of the circle or you're dealt bad luck, etc. But we'd done like table tipping and the Ouija board and stuff in that room.
How was that?
It kept telling one of our other investigators that's on the team, Shelley, we kept getting told to die. But as soon as me and Shelley left the room, it would stop working. It wouldn't work for anybody else. Then me and Shelley went back in and it'd start again.
Wow.
It would like only answer to like me and Shelley. It was strange, but the table tipping and things was really good. And I taken a picture at the back of the vaults. I think I've actually sent it into the chat before. I took a picture with my camera to the back of the vault so that you can see like a face on the back wall of the vault.
Wow, that just gave me chills. That's cool.
It's great. It's fantastic. It's so good.
Wow.
But Scott's a big Edinburgh freak. He loves Edinburgh.
It sounds quite bad. I live and breathe Edinburgh. I've always loved it for years and years. We did there's two sets of vaults. There's Niddry Street and there's Blair Street vaults.
Mhm.
We did the Blair Street vaults a couple of years ago, and because Blair Street vaults is famous for the story of the little girl, and there's also a story of a bride, a woman, sorry. But there's also a famous story about Mr. Boots. Mr. Boots is reported to have been some kind of caretaker when the vaults
Caretaker of the
were
vaults,
occupied. The vaults used to have, shops, pubs, etc. It was basically a town, as Sam says. It was a town underneath Edinburgh. And Mr. Boots was a kind of caretaker, but he was known to be quite brutal. And that his way of thinking was, these are my vaults, simple as.
I do what you're told or face the consequences.
He's still said to roam the vaults to this day. There's one room there that he's been put, it's called Mr. Boots's room, they call it.
In the left-hand corner.
In that room. But when we did the vaults, we'd taken into about 5 different rooms. And also they're underground, there's no ventilation, there's no artificial, there's no lights or anything, it's all candles. But there was one room in particular, we went in and the temperature just totally dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as you come back out of that room, the temperature, picks up again. They say there's no ventilation or anything, because also you're underground. But nobody can explain why the temperature drops in that one particular room. And as soon as
And it's quite wet in the vaults as well. It's quite wet and damp.
How deep are they? How deep are the vaults? Is it levels? Do they go down, or is it just one level?
Some of them are only on one level. But then you've got Niddry South, which is City of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Theirs go down 3 levels.
Right, wow.
But Birkenhead and thing were supposed to be in the vaults. That's where they've done most of their body dissections and their grave robbing and things.
Right.
Mr. Boots, as Scott was talking about, in his particular area of the vaults, he's still supposed to be roaming about and he shouts, "Get out." A lot of people have heard "Get out" really close up to their ear and things.
Wow.
And there was a particular corner in the vaults in Mr. Boots's room that people go and stand in, but they don't know it's his corner. But apparently that's where one of the ladies for the vaults was found dead.
What?
In one of the corners, somebody that lived in the vaults. But it's strange. It's so many stories.
There's a lot. There's also a story about the young girl who was lured into the vaults by 3 men.
That's right.
The message was she got to come and meet, her lover basically in the vaults. But when she got there, these men were waiting on her, and she was murdered in the vaults. And she still said to roam about the vaults as well. There's also a wee girl roams the vaults, and again, these are all legends and stories. The story is that she's looking for her mum.
So
also, because the vaults, there was thousands of people lived in the vaults. Obviously, back then, the sort of poorest of the poor people, basically, the people that Edinburgh's upper class didn't care about. This is where they just went into the vaults and lived, and it was full of disease, poverty, robbing, murder. But as Sam says, Birkenhead took quite a lot of their victims from the vaults because nobody missed them. You could go and murder and they wouldn't go missing. Nobody would notice them missing. So Birkenhead were associated with the vaults quite a wee bit. And that's where they used to get their victims and take them up to the medical school.
Get money for them.
It was 12 shillings and 6 or something.
Shillings and 6pence, stuff like that, aye.
The fresher the body, the more money you got.
Wow.
See, a lot of people were under the impression that Birkenhead were grave robbers. They weren't. Birkenhead never ever robbed a grave.
No.
Because you know,
They
they
took their
wanted,
bodies before they went to a grave, basically.
basically, you know, the
Oh.
fresher, you know, the more money they're going to get. But a lot of people are confused by that. They say, oh, Birkenhead, the grave robbers. But that never ever actually happened. But Sam says, I love Edinburgh. I could spend 7 days a week in Edinburgh. Greyfriars
I'd
as
love
well.
to go back there. I'd really love to go back there.
You
It'd be a
should.
great place to explore. Definitely.
You should. There's that many
Well-
places everywhere you turn. It's just steeped with history. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
where you go in Edinburgh. There's some part of history somewhere.
Yeah, I wish I'd done some ghost tours there just to suss it out, but I ran out of time and I had to get back to Glasgow. So, yeah.
Glasgow's okay. Glasgow's got its history as well. You know, there's a fair amount of history in Glasgow. Not as much as Edinburgh, mind you, but
That
there's a fair
cathedral up there is phenomenal. Like, there's like, you know, knights buried in there. It was like, wow. And the necropolis up the top, that was pretty cool to explore.
Hmm.
Did you get into the necropolis?
Yeah. Yeah. There's people picnicking up there and it was a nice sunny day. So, yeah.
Did you bump into the Gorbals vampire?
No, I didn't know the history of it when I went up there. I just went for a walk. It's quite a nice spot.
The Gorbals vampire is a story that came out in the 50s, and it was a comic book story. You know, so these kids, you know, they bought the comic, read the story, and they decided to go up the necropolis, as you do when you're a kid, and they play out, you know, a story that they've read. And so they decided to go up to the necropolis, play the Gorbals vampires. They named them, you know, and then they were home and told their parents they'd met this vampire in the graveyard. So everybody kind of, for some reason, believed them. And that's how the legend of Gorbals vampire was born.
Wow. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
Angela Lindsay's saying that she was a human pentacle at Oxford Castle, and then a Ouija board, and all four of us see a hand floating above in the dark. That was mad. And table tipping, Hellfire Cave, High Wycombe. An earring she was wearing for years, day and night, flew across the room.
Wow. That's crazy.
That
Hellfire
is-
Cave. I've heard a lot about Hellfire Caves. They're pretty haunted. That would definitely be an experience. Wow.
It would be. Especially seeing a floating hand, I think I would run away.
Yeah, that would be weird.
I know,
Wow.
you'd be like, whoa, what's that?
What an amazing experience. Wow.
But there's
Yeah.
a where forest is as well, isn't no dog?
There's a
Where you
what?
are, there's history. Where you live.
Yeah, you were breaking up then. Where I am, there's history. We've got we're just mining. There's loads of mining accidents and pit disasters and stuff around where I am. I'm at the
And
base of the
up
Wrekin in Shropshire. But yeah, it's basically the hill that everyone walks up, and around the base of there, it was all mining villages and mining towns. So there's quite a lot of stuff that I found in the woods over the road. Just sort of old vehicles from the 50s and pipes coming up out of the ground and little buildings that have, you know, just reduced to rubble. So, and doing a couple of the churches locally, because I'm a bit of a one for churchyards and graves and stuff like that. So I find out all the Norman and the Saxon churches, and I go and investigate them. And, you know, there's a couple of pit disasters. So they've got like graves of 10 people with all the names, and, you know, the chain dropped on the, I can't remember what it's called, but they all sort of hold onto chains and get lowered into the mines, and a couple of them have snapped. And yeah, it's quite fascinating really, but I found that out just by wandering off there on my own. But I'd like to do Ludlow Castle as a ghost hunt. That's quite local.
Who do you seek permission from to go and investigate a castle?
Well, they're all run by National Trust and that. So, you know, you go in and it's like, I don't know, 12, 15 quid to get in. Warwick Castle's the same.
Okay.
But yeah, you can't. They don't really sort of let you go in at night. They'll do their own ghost hunts, where you have to just pay to go on their own ghost hunts. But
It's a bit
wouldn't it be
crap,
cool?
that, isn't
just
it?
go in- I know. Wouldn't it be cool to just get access and do it on your own? Warwick Castle's amazing.
Wow, I'll have to look it up.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
Warwick Castle, I know. Go on, Scott.
sorry, I want to go what I was going to say is to do a castle over here for a private ghost hunt at night, you're looking at £800-900.
What?
That's
That's
quite expensive.
insane. That's insane.
I don't know what that is in dollars. I don't know what they're about. It's about £800-900 over here just to get a castle, and that's not even for a night. You're talking maybe 3-4 hours tops to get into a ghost.
Yeah, right. Far out. That's a lot of money.
So we're
Culzean
over there.
Castle down there would be supposed to be quite haunted.
There's meant to be a white lady.
A Culzean Castle.
What's your opinion? We were talking about this in a live the other week of it. You always get hi 3 souls, buddy. Thanks for coming in. So you get white ladies and grey ladies. What's your theory on why do you think you get different colour ladies?
Personally, I've never really experienced them, but a lot of people have said there's like ladies in white at certain places, haunted places here in Australia. I've never experienced them, but yeah, I don't know. Grey ladies, I don't know.
You never get a green lady or a red lady. It's always
Oh,
a
gee.
white lady or a...
Lady in grey. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's interesting. Maybe because that's the misty shape that they take, and that's the colour of the mist.
Well,
Have you ever experienced that?
No,
Have
but
any of you guys?
I've never experienced any. No, I don't know about the girls.
No.
Not me. No, I just mists and shapes, but I couldn't ever tell you if they were male or female. Really, I'm not that intuitive.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. The paranormal. Everybody goes out investigating, and everybody's just what I know. There's a lot of groups put pictures up, to say, picture of a man caught in a pub, or a picture of a lady caught in a park, and you look at it, but you can't really see it. You've got to struggle to try and make out some kind of shape or form. I don't know, use things like that, but it's, they'll say this is definitely a man standing in a pub. It's a picture of a bar, and you're struggling to see where the guy is standing in the. Do you get a lot of that over there, Yvette? People, posting pictures and saying this is that and what have you.
Yeah, there's a few paranormal groups on Facebook, and it's just random people from the public going, "Oh, look at this! I've caught this," and it's just pareidolia.
And you get, wow, look at this. Look what we have on camera.
And it's not that definitive.
No.
So it's, you got to discern that. But people that post those kind of photos get a lot of crap as well. It's understandable, but they're just genuine people that are questioning things. So, but it's nothing really definitive that I've seen. Some are maybe a couple that have blown my mind and gone, wow, like that's insane. But for the most part, it's like, look at this. Can you see this? What can you see in this room? And it's like nothing really. So, I mean, but I wasn't there when the photo was taken. So they could have had other things happen as well. I don't know. But yeah,
I find that the places that are supposed to have a lot of ghosts and boast being the most haunted place in Wales or whatever, and you go, nothing happens. Whereas if I just go and stand on a field or a plain field, I get loads of activity just in normal places. But we've got a priory not far from here called White Ladies Priory, and it's where Richard hid in the Boscobel Oak during some sort of war, and and it's supposed to be an old convent, and we used to hang up there when we were kids and just have a fire in the corner, watch the stars. And it's got so many scary stories, you know, people that, you don't go up there, do you? That's creepy, man. They have like people who broke out from an asylum and bang on your car. It's like there's no asylums in Shropshire. What are you on about? And I took my ghost box up there with a friend at night, and I thought, oh, you know, a ruined convent, it's going to be ace. It's in the middle of nowhere in the countryside, and it's dead peaceful. And I didn't get anything. Nothing came through at all. It was just silent. And there's another group called the Ouija Boys from the West Midlands, and they've also got a video of it as well, and nothing happened for them. So it's always just quite interesting to me is where you get the activity.
It's also hit and miss as well, because heaps of haunted places, like someone else might have had a really crazy experience, doesn't mean you necessarily are going to experience the same thing. And I think a lot of people go to those things with a lot of expectations as well, and then get disappointed when it's not. Because recently I was up in Bendigo, and there's this old hotel called the Shamrock. I was like, yeah, I get to investigate the Shamrock tonight, and it was pretty benign. So
what happens. So people do expect it, like you say, they go to a haunted location and they do think that they're going to get activity, but it's like I always say, they're no performing monkeys. They don't do it on command. They do it when they want, not when you want them to.
Exactly.
And that keeps it real. I'm a firm believer in, even if you get no activity, tell them you get no activity. Don't sugarcoat it and say, oh yes, we caught this and we caught that, when you didn't, because you're just falsifying it. You just need to be true to yourself. And
see, unfortunately, with Greyfriars, that happens a lot in Greyfriars, because obviously Greyfriars is reported to be the most haunted graveyard in the world. And I've watched quite a few YouTube videos of people getting in, and they'll be shouting and screaming, and they've heard a branch break, or a stone's been thrown, but you never ever see it, and they're like, oh my God, we need to get out of here, let's run, let's go. I've been to Greyfriars, I've been myself, I've also been with other people so many times. We went, all to different times of the day, and I've only picked up on one thing in Greyfriars, and it was the presence of a male running about the Mackenzie tomb. It wasn't the Mackenzie, I was feeling there was a guy standing, but we had never ever picked up anything. And we went one night at 3 in the morning on purpose, and the only thing we ended up with was flat batteries. That was it.
aye.
Yeah, okay. Drained.
We were buzzing, Greyfriars, 3 o'clock, let's go, let's do this, and what we went. And our batteries are meant to last 90 minutes each. Each battery lasted about 15 minutes. And so maybe 25, 30 minutes tops, and that was our batteries done. That was it. Game over. We couldn't charge them anywhere. And it was such a big letdown, But everybody builds it up. And as Sam says, they're no performing monkeys, They don't want to do anything, they'll no do it. Care homes have lots of activity, Angela's saying.
I totally agree. I agree, because I've worked in an aged care facility, and there were a lot of the residents had dementia or Parkinson's at different stages, and not very physically active. And I saw, and it was in an old mansion in Brighton down the road, and it was like this black mist, human-shaped figure dart into one of the rooms. So I went down the hallway, and I was like, I've seen you. And there was no one in the room, and it was like, what the hell? Like, this place is mega haunted. And I spoke to one of the night crew, because we did a swap over, and I spoke to one of the guys there, and he goes, yeah, this is a pretty haunted place at night. Would have loved to have worked there at night, even after just seeing that with my own eyes. It's crazy.
I think a lot of it is residual in a care home as well, because it's their happy place. It's where they've spent the majority of their elderly life. Yeah. And a lot of it is imprinted on the place. If you think about it, it's like they say with my work, we've been in the hospital, the amount of people that die in that place on a daily basis. The energy and the emotions,
Yep.
it's a constant feed.
Yep. Have you ever
Constant-
experienced anything at the hospital?
Not so much in the hospital, no. I have in the care home, but not at the hospital.
Yep.
Obviously, there's like, you get your silly wee things like a buzzer going off, but that person's no longer there. So
Yeah,
there's no
right,
reason
wow.
why that buzzer should be buzzing. In one of the care homes I used to work in, there used to be a buzzer that went off, but that buzzer was actually downstairs in the cellar. So there was
Yeah,
no reason
right.
for that buzzer to go off, things like that. But doors opening and shutting, things being misplaced and then found again in silly places. But it's just,
Wow.
I think a lot of it tends to be residual.
Mm.
It's a case of they're there, they're happy, they come back to where they were happy.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
glad
wow.
I don't.
Oh, oranges rolled along the floor in the retirement facility. Oh, wow.
Angela's got a good place. A place, you know, I would never ever thought investigating a care home. It just wouldn't. I would never. I know a lot of people like to do castles, graveyards, etc. But I mean, we've said it in lives before. You can investigate really anywhere.
Anyway,
You know, a petrol station. You know, because the depends on the land before it. But a care home, no, I would never have thought of that one. That's a good one, Angela.
you'd
Thank
be
you for that,
surprised.
Doc.
Oh, wow.
My
That's
name-
amazing.
Now, I've heard my name a few times and there's been nobody there, or I thought I've heard my name, but you just never know.
That's it.
Well, that's the thing. Sometimes it happens when you. I mean, we got good caps around here last year, but it's a couple of times I've been in here watching the TV myself. One day I was lying on the bed and watching the TV, and you know the bedroom door was there, TV was there, and I saw something going by the door, but it was like that, you know, and I was in myself.
So quick,
and then-
hey?
Yeah, it was like split second.
Oh.
It did catch my eye. And then it happened again. We switched rooms, and again, same thing, watching the TV and something, but this time it was a bit more solid than the last. It's really hard to describe. It was more the figure of a man this time, but it was with that by the door, and it was gone. You know, and these are the kind of times you don't have your phone, or you don't have a camera or anything set up to maybe try and catch it. And that you know,
So hard.
that's, you know,
Yeah.
but whoever it is that's in here, doesn't bother us. You know, we don't get any,
No.
you know, we don't get any hassle. Our cats, we get two cats, they'll sometimes sit and stare into the hall.
Yeah, okay.
One of them, one night was sitting in the bed beside me, and she was sitting staring, and I put my hand in front of her face. And
Didn't move, didn't flinch.
she looked through my hand to look out into the hall.
So something
Which,
was there.
So she was definitely, because I saw in a program one time, there was a guy says, you know, I think it was a dog that was sitting there, and the guy's like, put your hand in front of the dog's face. And the dog looked around this guy's hand, and that's what the cat done. But obviously, there was, you know, I couldn't see anything there, but obviously the cats know there's something there.
You got a good catch, though. You got a good find. Like, the footage that you've got from your house was really, really good. But the laser grid.
I can't show you. Sarah's a tech genius. She's sleeping. I don't know anything about tech and getting it up. I know it's on our YouTube channel. We done an investigation in here one night, and it was against the wall behind this computer. We were sitting on the other side of the wall, and I was holding the pen. And it was the next day, Sarah was going through the footage, and she noticed it. But in normal speed, it's like millisecond, and Sarah managed to slow it right down. And it's, you know, you can see the sort of torso and the legs of the figure going by along
You can see it clear as day.
Wow. That's
If you want,
insane.
I don't know if you want to have a look. If Sarah was still awake, I could get her to put it up on the screen, but I don't have a clue how to do that. You're lucky I can turn my PC on. Do you know what I mean? That's my pieces. I was saying animals super spiritual and pure.
And they can see a broader spectrum of light as well, so they can see what we can't see.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, when my cats are looking at something, it's like, oh, the fairies are back. Because there's nothing there, and they're both looking at this thing flying around the lounge room. It's like, wow. So to me, they're just fairies for the cats, anyway.
It's like kids as well.
Go on.
Sorry, folks.
I was going to say, I don't know how I'd feel about sharing my house with a spirit, but it just depends what behaviour they had, whether they were just jerks or pleasant to live around, you know. I suppose you get, you know, spirits of every sort of phase of life, don't you? You get jerks and you get nice spirits. So, yeah, I don't think I'd want one in my house. I'd like to just go to sleep and not worry about hearing stuff and being scared and
doors slamming, lights flickering.
Yeah, that would bother me. I think I'd just get angry at them. Get out.
You have the power. You have the power.
Yeah. They're going to make me a cup of tea. That's cool.
We don't get it. In my old flat, I used to live myself, and in my old flat, I had a spirit in there, and I found the remote moved one day, and I found my house keys moved. And I've got a great thing for Buddhas, and I was kind of OCD with my Buddhas in my old flat, you know. They had to be, I had something like 13 Buddhas in my living room. I know it's a bit extreme, but however, and everyone had to sit a certain way. And, you know, I came in for work, and maybe one of them had moved slightly, and I would notice it. And then one night I was sitting watching the TV, and my kitchen bin lid just flew right off the top, and I was watching a film, and I ended up losing the rag. I ended up shouting at her, you know, whoever it was, you know, that's enough. I'm trying to watch the TV. Would you pack it in? Would you shut up? The rest of it, I didn't get any bother. Do you know what I mean? It's just, it was just annoying me things. There was nothing negative or anything. Jack seeing haunted dolls moving around the house. Have you got any haunted dolls or anything like that? Any weird?
No.
I've got 2 dolls here, and they've moved from their spots, but I wouldn't say that the dolls are actually haunted. I think it was just a spirit wanting my attention, because there's one in the hallway and one in the lounge room, and they haven't moved. I've had them since the 90s, and was sitting in the middle of the lounge room floor, and the other one, which can't be moved in the hallway, was sitting with its legs out. And my housemate saw it when she came home. Like, as soon as you open the door, it's like looking at you.
No,
she told me that. And
not for me.
No, because
something wanted my attention.
No.
Got it. So.
It might be there one day like that.
It's happened before. I've come home from work. This was years ago, and my whole bedroom's all misty, and I've got this other little it's like a Halloween tomato. I call it Tommy, and that was sitting in the middle of my bed looking at me, and it's got this big shit-eating grin on it. And it was like, how the frig did you get there? Like, it was sitting on the bookshelf in the lounge room. How did it travel all the way to my bedroom? Like, the cats don't play with it. So that was very bizarre. And another time I've walked home and my bedroom's been full of mist again, and there was an orb about the size of a tennis ball sitting in the middle of my bed. So I was like, oh, hey, how you going? Good to see you again. And just walked back out. And then when I went back in my room, the mist was gone.
No,
and that was pretty crazy.
That's the same as my TV remote. When I was in the flat, I was a creature of habit. Every time I turned the TV off, I'd put the remote in front of the TV. I done it, you know, religiously every time. One time I came in for work and I went to turn the TV on and the remote wasn't there. As I say, I lived myself and nobody else had been there. And I could not find this TV. I looked on the side of the couch. I hunted everywhere. And I actually went into my bedroom and I noticed this black thing. halfway under the bed. And so I kneeled down and looked, and it was the TV remote. It was halfway under the double bed. And,
That's funny. Yeah.
I told people in work about it, they thought I was nuts. And, I said, well, I'm just telling you what happened. I don't know how it got there. And there's no way I would put my remote halfway underneath my bed.
Exactly.
There's no reason for it. I know
You got a playful spirit, a cheeky spirit hanging around.
Exactly. And then some of my Buddhas would be moved. Some would be moved slightly, but I still notice it. People used to call me OCD and nuts because of my Buddhas, but or some would be moved right round and stuff like that. Like, would you leave my fucking Buddhas alone? Do you know what I mean?
And it's your house. You know where everything is and where it's all placed, so you'd know if it's been moved. It happens a lot here as well.
Exactly. I love myself, so I knew exactly where everything was, and where even one day, every time I went home, I'd lock my door and I'd leave the keys in, and I'd always turn the key 1/4 turn to the left. It was a thing my dad done, and I picked it up off of him. Even if I was going into the house for even an hour, I still locked the door. But one morning I got up to go to work and the keys weren't in the door. They were lying in the coffee table in the living room. I knew I had them there. I knew they were in that door the night before because I'd locked the door. And I could not explain it. I'm not saying it's paranormal or some spirit moved it during the night, whatever. I'm just saying, I found my keys on the table and I cannot explain it. Forrest has given me a couple of funny looks.
Yeah, I just think you're mad, to be honest. But I was just thinking, like, the amount of times when you're looking for something and you know that you put it on the table and you know it was there an hour ago, and you turn the place upside down, it's nowhere on that table. I've looked 19 times, it's not going to magically reappear. And then you go away, you make a cup of tea, you come back, and it's right there in front of you. Is that me being crazy, or is that a spirit? Because that happens a lot to me. And another thing that happens to me is that I break anything electrical just by being in the room with it. It happened again today. I just phoned up to make an appointment at the doctor's, and she's, "Oh, sorry, my computer's crashed. Oh, I don't know. Oh, you're gonna have to phone back." And I just thought, it happens all the time. What is it? What is that?
A lot of people put it down to losing their mind or forgetfulness, but at the end of the day, who's to say? If you've looked in a place as Forrest says maybe 19 times and it's definitely not there, and then you come back to it and it's sitting right there where you've checked, you think, well, why? Obviously you always try to debunk it and what have you. I think that's the sort of most important thing. You try and debunk it first. Why it's there or why it's happened, and fair enough. It
just gets more confusing, doesn't it? It gets more confusing. The more you try and debunk it, the more you just think, what just happened? Because it wasn't there. Like, is this me? What's going on?
Yeah, and then you think you're going crazy.
Yeah.
When my kids were younger, I was watching them one night myself, and we had the baby monitor on the living room. We had up and downstairs. I could hear the bath running through the baby monitor. So I ran up the stairs. I thought the kids were up. They were only maybe 4 or 5 years old at this time. And bathroom was empty. Kids were sound asleep in their bed. Came back down the stairs. And I could hear the bath water running. So I went back up. This happened 2 or 3 times. And then I could hear somebody talking to a child in the bath. As a mother would talk to a baby in the bath playing. And I was up the stairs again. And it was, I couldn't explain it. I could not explain this because my kids were sound asleep. And it was a couple of days later, I was talking to one of my neighbours, and I was telling him, and I thought, he's going to think I'm nuts. And he says to me, "What time was this at?" I said, "I don't know, about 9 o'clock. He says, "That was my wife bathing the wee one." He says, "Your monitor has picked up our monitor for some reason. And you've been able to listen to our monitor." And, you know, I just found that totally bizarre. I just got another look after Sam there, 50 to say, you know, what? But that's what, guys, this is your monitor's picked up your monitor, and you've been listening to my wife bathing one of your kids.
So
This is
mate,
good.
monitors pick up an awful amount, though. They pick up all sorts. Frequencies and...
I just found it really, really bizarre. I was, you know, I don't get scared easy, I don't get freaked out, but that freaked me out that night. I could not. And when my, you know, wife at the time came home, I was telling her, and she thought I was winding her up. She thought I was, you know, I said, no, I was up and down that stairs. That there was water in that bath. I could hear it. So, you're winding me up, you know, you've been drinking kind of thing. And I said, no, I've not been, I'm still called sober. But I think it's things like that, a lot of people can mistake for being paranormal.
That's it.
Well, you know, I haven't had anything particularly happen to me in the last few years, but I remember sort of in my 20s, I had quite a few things happen that freaked me out. And one of them was I was sat in my bed in a shared house, and the next door had two kids in the room next to my headboard, and you often used to hear them crying. The mum would walk up the stairs, she'd calm the kids down, and then she'd go back. And the one night, one of them was crying. I heard her footsteps come up, and they just seemed to come through the wall, and then my floorboard started creaking. And you know, when you just sort of freeze because you think, whoa, that sounds like it's right next to me. That's really weird. And then my bed dipped behind me because I was lying on my side. And as my bed dipped, I kind of went back into the void.
Wow.
And then I felt just a little bit of pressure on my hip. And at this point, you know, I had my duvet here. I was holding my breath. My eyes were like that. And I was like, what the hell? What the hell? And then the pressure lifted off my hip. The bed went up. I sort of went forward again into my normal position, and the footsteps went. And I just completely freaked out. I just like leapt off the bed, going all the way down the stairs, just like, oh my God, what's going on? And my housemate had to calm me down. But I remember just being, you know, like Tom
Wow.
and Jerry's mom when she's like running around with a skirt, holding a skirt above her knees, just going, oh my God, Thomas! You know, I was like that in the living room doing this war dance. And
That's crazy.
that just sticks in my head because it was the footsteps, it was the bed dipping, and it was the hand on my hip. But it wasn't a scary experience because it seemed like quite a motherly thing. But because I couldn't explain it and I know that happened, it just blew my mind, and I was just like run downstairs and had a complete spaz about it. Yeah.
I've experienced that bed dipping before. It's like me and my partner at the time were like just sitting on my bed, and it was like someone had sat down on the end of the mattress, and we saw it both go in, and it was like, did you see that? It's like, what the hell? Like something's here, but we couldn't see it, but you could see the indentation in the mattress go down. It was bizarre.
When it's that
Definitely.
definitive and you know it happened, it's just like, what? Whereas when it's just a little mist in the corner, it's like, am I seeing that? Is it just my eyes? I don't know, and it's not on camera, so I can't prove it. But when it happens to you in your bedroom and you know you're moving backwards because something's there, that was
That's
freaky, man.
crazy.
It's definitely freaky. I'm
That's
surprised I
insane.
don't have a grey streak, to be honest with you. But yeah, things have happened to me many years ago. I haven't had anything like that happen to me since I've been looking for it almost. It's always very subtle and, oh, was that? Did I hear that? So to me, it's just a big experiment, and I'm very logical, and I like to debunk stuff. But when there's no logic to it, it's like, okay, you got me.
Yeah. The most recent things that have been happening in my apartment, because I've got this cupboard in my bedroom, and the cats climb on top of it, and they like to knock stuff off, which is fine. And I felt a presence right next to my bed as well. And then just the other day, I was looking on top of the cupboard where the cat's been knocking stuff off, and one of my nail polish bottles was upside down, on its lid side. It's like, how would that be like that? Did like the cats didn't knock that off from anywhere else on the cupboard for it to be
No.
like that. But yeah, no, that was weird. I'm not going to say it's a ghost or anything, but it was definitely weird.
Mm.
You
So-
know,
Yeah, that's
though,
See,
you know your own
to me, one thing, you know, you get people say, you know, this happened to me in my house. Definitely a ghost. It was a ghost. But then you get people, you know, like yourself, Yvette and Florence and Sam will say, you know, well, this happened. I don't know why.
Yeah,
Mhm.
You know,
I have no idea. A feeling of
There's-
presence as well was weird. And I kind of like
Mm.
roll over and go to sleep and go, whoever's there, just, you know, let me go to sleep. But then seeing that the next day was a bit weird. But I can't explain it. I've had another incidents where I've been, you know, the first Wonder Woman movie, when that first came out, I was sitting on the couch texting a friend about, you know, the new Wonder Woman movie, and I've got some figurines up on my bookshelf here in the lounge room, and it came flying off the bookshelf, and I was like, what the hell? It's like something's listening to me. But yeah, that was really weird. Like it just flew off the bookshelf. That was crazy.
the bed thing seems to be quite a common thing because, you know, there's Jackie said, I told her, I hope I'm pronouncing your name. Jackie, I'll say. Sam just disappeared. So my hubby was travelling, I saw the curtain open, a full moonlight, and saw the room felt the dip in the bed in a sense of calm.
I wonder if
Sometimes
it's like a grandparent or an old maternal sort of member of your family coming back to visit. Who knows?
So a couple of times I've been in bed and our cats have got a habit, they'll jump up and you can feel them slowly walking up the bed. You know, they kind of sneak up towards you and then they'll sort of cuddle in during the night. But I'm quite a light sleeper. And a couple of times I've felt this on the bed and I've looked up and I put my light on my phone on and the cats are nowhere to be seen. But I felt that on the bed. You know, a couple of times I have said to them, you know, sod off, you know, because they've got their own bit for sleeping in. And it's like 2 or 3 in the morning, and you can feel this on the bed, and you one eye open, and you're like, just, you know, beat it, go away, go and lie down, and then you look up, and there's nothing there. So you don't know if you're kind of imagining it in your sleep. You know, you've actually felt something. So that's why I like the paranormal, because it's so bizarre. There's that much to it, you know, that we can't explain. Everybody's trying to find the answers. Everybody's hoping for that capture or that, you know, that voice or anything to try and prove something. Really question for you, Yvette.
House is the same one following you or just random in different places you're living? I've been in my apartment for 26 years now and stuff's been happening forever. I feel like it's not here all the time, but it comes in to let me know it's here and then it goes away again. I don't know if they're the same or if it's different. And people these days go, oh, you know, you've probably got things following you home from what you do with ghost pictures. But I've been having these experiences way before I did ghost pictures, so in the apartment. But I bought a Kinect camera, and I've seen where they hang out. One hangs out on my bike, and one hangs out the plant in the corner of the lounge room. And I've seen one on my couch before with the little stick figure on the Kinect. So they're here, but they're not here all the time. And they're pretty benign. So, I mean, I have had some nasty experiences when we used a Ouija board years ago and it opened a portal. I swear those things are real, right? In the ceiling. It's like this energy came down and just went whoop, right here. And then all the beads flew up that are near the door and the coats that are hanging up on the door, they flew up. And me and my friend just looked at each other and went, they're here. It was like, what the hell? But yeah, that was pretty, I didn't close it off properly until I had a really bad experience when I fell asleep on the couch. And you know, Death, that classic Death, look, the thing with the sickle, black thing, the hooded thing. It came down and it struck me 3 times, but I woke up on the first one and it sounded like metal on metal, and that woke me up, and I was like, fuck off. And then that day I had to do a closing for the portal on the ceiling because it was still open, apparently. But that was me just being silly with friends with a Ouija board in my apartment. So don't ever play with Ouija boards in your house.
No.
And I've had things attack my cats as well. Draven got attacked pretty bad, and she screamed so loud, and she was down and she was all fluffed out like this, and I had to like protect her and just scream at this thing just to get the hell out of my house, because I'm not having that. Not with my cats. Fuck with my cats, you fuck with me. But yeah, it's mainly benign here. It has been happening for years. So yeah, lots of things.
When I lived in the flat, I just get that used to it. I started to, it's going to maybe sound nuts, I don't know. I just started talking to it, you know, him. I assumed it was a him. I don't know why I assumed it was a he. I just did, you know. I'm not sexist in any way. It could have been a she. But
you can always tell energies, male and female energies, I feel. You can always tell. I mean, I can.
I know there was a young guy died in the flat before, you know, I was going to say before me, before I moved in. A tragic accident. It could have been him. I have no idea. But I just get that used to it that I would talk to him. You know, I would say, right, I'm off to work now. Have a good day. And then I'd come in for work and I'd say hello. And if I had a really stinkery a day at work, I'd come in and vent to whoever it was that was in the flat. Do you know what I mean? I'd come in and say,
that could be a way of getting rid of them, couldn't it?
Maybe get bored listening to me and bug it. It's sod this up. I'm not having this for eternity. I'm away. I'm going.
Yeah, there's no fun here.
All he does is complain. I'm away. I'm going next door. You know what I mean? Something like that. But I just found myself telling them about my day, or if the TV was crap, you know, tell he's crap and ain't nothing to watch. And I think everybody outside looking in would have just thought there's that poor wee man sitting in his chair just talking to nobody. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that's how comfortable I got with it.
Wow.
There was never anything bad. It was just, you know, silly wee things with the keys, remote stuff like that. And it just became part of life, you know. It might have been a spirit, might not have been a spirit. Maybe I was just going do wally and I did put the remote under the bed and forget, you know, or forget my keys, you know, who knows. Yeah. But I think if you show spirits respect, you go on a lot better. You know,
absolutely. Respect is number one. You know, they used to be living human beings as well. So, and just what annoys me about most of the American things is they all jump to the demon conclusion, and it's I don't know. I just find it a bit silly, entertaining but silly. So.
Everything's a demon. No, I know there's a lot of people into demonology and what I mean. We obviously don't touch that side of things, and no disrespect to anybody else, you know. Everybody's got their own kind of thing, but I feel that people jump on the demon, you know, straight away. You know, something like that's a demon. There's another demon. You know what I mean? Would you think?
Much.
It does get much. Would you think about the whole demon thing, Forrest? What's your view on it?
Oh, I think it's pretty daft. It's just something that programs do to make it more watchable, doesn't it? You know, it creates more drama, Hollywoodized, as I say. You know, there's demons, but I don't really think they're that commonplace. I think it's just, yeah, that's my view.
It's true though. Yeah.
No, I don't
Demons
think so.
exist, but yeah, not everything happens as a demon. Oh shit,
No.
that moved off my table. Demons. It's like,
Yeah, I think there's
that's
just more human spirits than there is demons, you know. There's millions of us that have died over the years. How many demons are there? I don't know. Bit daft.
And then you'll get grumpy spirits. You know, I mean, you get people in life who are just grumpy by nature. When they pass over, who's to say they're still not just grumpy?
Yeah.
That's it. Well, that's it. Yeah. And Jackie's
Somebody-
gone. Sorrento Cemetery and Pioneers Graves. I would drive past there and very quiet. With you, they were really chatty. Yeah, they were. I'd say that cemetery that I went to is haunted, definitely. Because there was a part where I walked near, it's where all the sailors were buried from that shipwreck from years ago. Can't remember the name of the shipwreck. But there's a whole bunch of sailors buried at this Sorrento Cemetery. And it was weird because I think it was near that memorial where they're buried. It was like the whole energy changed. It was like I'd entered a vortex and I could hear these footsteps behind me, like someone was walking right behind me, and I started to freak out a little bit, trying to keep it together while I was filming. But yeah, that was really weird, and they were very chatty through the S box. I find my SB7 doesn't work. It's not as communicative when I got the S box and started using the S box one. So I think you got to be in tune with your equipment as well. So I use the S box a lot now. But yeah, the SB7, hardly get anything through that. I used to get a lot through it.
Do you find that you attract spirit? You know, as Jackie was saying there, when they drove, it was really quiet, but they tend to be really.
I saw a psychic chick about 15, 20 years ago, and she goes, "Holy shit, like there's spirits all around you. They just want to talk to you, but you have a gatekeeper, and that keeps them kind of at bay. That keeps it at bay." I was like, and that was years ago, and I was like, all right, maybe that's the direction of my life, and now I am doing ghost pictures, wandering cemeteries in the middle of the night, talking to spirits. Yeah, I find, they're pretty chatty with me. They even know my name sometimes. It's really weird when they say your name, and if it's a disembodied, that's crazy as well. Like that fascinates the hell out of me. They know me. It's weird.
So does it happen when you're out shopping? You know, when you go during the day, maybe go shopping or hanging about with friends. Do you tend to pick up then as well, or?
Not really, because I'm not focused on that, and I think everything you do is intent as well. So if I'm out shopping, I'm out shopping. I'm not thinking about spirits. But when you decide to go and do an episode, it's like, all right, this is our intention, and we go there with that intent to communicate. So I think the channels are open a little bit more that way. So yeah.
So I know Forrest has got this wee gift for finding unusual places. Like you found that Forrest last week you were out, you found that abandoned house in the middle of nowhere, basically, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's in the forest that I go to, and it's just up a path that I'd never gone up because I never go sort of to the left because I know it goes to the Wrekin, the big hill. But I find stuff from chatting to people locally as well. And there was a guy, Bearded Wanderer, who does a lot of. He's fantastic at media and putting videos together. He really is. You should watch some of his stuff. And he likes to. He went to a Land Rover graveyard a couple of days ago, where there was hundreds of old Land Rovers with moss growing on. You know, he does these really arty videos. But he just went to this house and he said it's at the Wrekin. I was like, where is it? Tell me, I've got to go. And it was literally, 10 minutes from my house. Just like the cave I found as well, which is on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, that cave was cool. What a cool find.
It was just there. I've walked over the path probably 20, 30 times with dogs and stuff, and it was underneath the path. I would
How
never
did
have
you
known
how
that.
did you see it?
I didn't.
How did you
I went on Google Earth, and
Okay.
I can't remember what I typed in because I can't find it again. But I somehow managed to look for things in my local area and, around the forest. And somebody had just put a label saying the cave. And I thought, is that a cafe, a shop? What is it? And it was in the middle of the woods. And it had one
Wow.
photo. And I thought, oh, a cave. I've got to go and find that. So off I went on my own into the big dark cave. But yeah, that's how I find stuff. It's just searching on Google Earth and talking to local folk, really, and being members of groups in the area. And you do find quite a bit. Next on my list is to go and see the grave of the last Sin Eater. That's about 50 minutes drive away. So,
What's it called?
it's the grave of the last Sin Eater.
Sin Eater. What's that?
Yeah, and he was a farmer apparently, and what they do is poor people will offer to eat the sins of the rich so that they can die and go to heaven. Oh, I was really loud then. Yeah, so I don't know. That was really weird. So yeah, the grave of the last Sin Eater is a guy who used to eat rich people's sins so they could go to heaven. Never heard of it. What a strange concept.
Bizarre. That'll be an interesting episode.
Yeah, but
Look forward
yeah, I
to
nearly
that
went
one.
a couple of days ago, but I just thought, oh, it's like Arctic outside all of a sudden. And then it started snowing, even though the day before I was in a vest top, and I thought, maybe that's one for another day.
Yeah.
Because you can't record anything when there's wind blowing. Like the wind has been terrible round here, and every time I try and record, it's just blowing down my microphone. So I want to go on a clear day, really. So
Fair
that's
enough.
one. That's the next one I shall do.
There's nothing more annoying than wind when you're trying to record stuff. It's horrible.
That's why I have to put music over some of my videos now, just to block it out.
Jackie's wanting the link to your channel for us, but to be honest with you, Jackie, I don't know how to put it up because, as I said, computers and I, not the best of people. But what I'll do is I'll put it up on.
Just Ghost Witches, one word, into YouTube, and you should get a little circular picture of a grave in a church, and that's me. So have a look, see if you can find it.
And Wayne's doing a Devil's Punch Bowl, a ghost hunt. Oh wow, that place would be pretty crazy. Whereabouts are you located, Wayne? Is that
Wayne,
are you in the UK?
Wayne was in last week. We're meeting up with Wayne to do Hampton Court Palace. Later, hopefully around about August time. Wayne Wayne is just on the outskirts of London. But he was on chatting last week. But that'd be interesting, Wayne, if you're filming. He's in Surrey. He's in Surrey, UK.
Yep, UK.
He's in the London area. But
I imagine London would be a very haunted city. Everything that's happening there.
I love London as well for mainly. I mean, it's a great city, it's a beautiful city. But I'm a big Tudors fan. I'm a massive Tudors fan. So obviously you got Hampton Court Palace, you've got the Tower of London, you've got all that kind of stuff there, all connected to the Tudors. And you've also got Whitechapel with Jack the Ripper, you've got Highgate Cemetery. So we maybe done
Highgate. I like Highgate. Went there. It was fabulous.
Wow.
Have you been there, Forrest? I
went there about 3 years ago with my mates, and I was fascinated. I mean, it's just full. You can go into the one cemetery for like £3, but then you have to book tours for the graves with the really, really famous people. Yeah, you sort of got all the graves on the path, but there's so many layers, and they just go back and back and more covered in ivy and to the point where you can't get to the graves. They're just packed in. It's a fascinating place and it's massive. You will be on your
Wow.
feet all day. Some monumental graves in there. Yeah, I'd recommend going for a look around there. Definitely.
In Hampton Court would be really haunted. Is that where they
Yeah.
caught that spirit opening the door? Was that at Hampton Court?
I don't know, but I know the picture.
That was Hampton Court Palace. There was a fire door, but it came out that was actually a hoax.
Oh, was it? That sucks.
A lot of
That
people thought it was the ghost of Henry VIII, but it came out a couple of years later on that it was actually a hoax. But Hampton Court, you know, that was Henry VIII's pleasure palace, as they called it back then. You know,
Was that the king that chopped all his wives' heads off?
Henry VIII.
Yeah, my sister did a genealogy of our family history, and it turns out one of our ancestors was one of Anne Boleyn's ladies in waiting. So that was pretty interesting. So was she married to Henry VIII?
Anne Boleyn was Henry's second wife. She was executed on charges of adultery. They were trumped up charges by members of the Privy Council, charges of adultery and witchcraft. So she was the second wife. By Henry, two of his wives executed. The first one he got divorced, then was executed. The third one died. His fourth one was divorced again. And Catherine Howard was his fifth wife, who he had executed. And his last wife, she outlived him. But Hampton Court was in sites of Anne Boleyn, Henry VIII. Catherine Howard's reported to be seen along in the Great Gallery in Hampton Court. The Great Gallery is where Catherine Howard broke free from her guards to try and reach Henry, who was at prayers in the chapel. But she was caught before she could get to the chapel and dragged back to where she was being held. So there's been reports of screams in the Great Gallery as well.
I'd love to investigate a castle. That'd be so insane. It's on my dream list of places to investigate. A haunted castle.
Castles would be
I think
amazing.
would be good. You've got whereas it flows, you got another sub. Jackie's joined your farm.
Thanks, Jackie. You're a star. Enjoy my face.
I don't know if I'd be worried at that or happy that you don't enjoy my face. I mean, I don't know.
I had a page dedicated to my ridiculous face years ago.
Don't be surprised if she leaves your farm after that comment. You know what I mean? But if you manage to go over here, we'll get you through to Edinburgh. Get you up to the castle.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan.
Hopefully,
I'd love to go back to Scotland. And you have to come down.
Hopefully, one day I might be able to leave Telford. That'd be nice.
That is better. Just jump in a bus today and come over. Just get a bus. Come out in a bus. Or drive. Is it possible to drive for to the UK? I would imagine it is. Obviously, you need to
dress up as a horse and get to Scotland, trot up there on my own,
Just sneak up. Come up the back road. Come up the back road along the coast. They'll never find you. You'll be fine. Come up back road. You'll be all right. You know what I mean?
They get some sort of animal costume, I think, going on, like a sheep or something. Just walk up the road to Scotland, It's getting drastic, man. Something's got to be done.
I don't have any words for that one, Forrest. Sorry. If you want to dress and sneak across the border, then best of luck to you, doll. That's all I can say. Good luck to you. But I think we'll wind up there because that's 1:25 in the morning.
Oh,
Here,
early for you guys.
yeah,
Almost lunchtime for me.
almost
Not even.
lunchtime. Have they blocked the
10:30.
borders?
We're not allowed, Jackie. We can't leave. I can't leave Telford. I can't go more than 5 miles, apparently. I can't get to Wales. I can't get to Scotland. So I've got to stay here until they tell me I can live again.
And that's the way it is all over the UK at the moment. We're not allowed out of a sort of general town area. We are after the 28th, we're allowed to travel around mainland Scotland, but we're not allowed down to England. So who knows? You know, it is what it is. I suppose it's necessary, but you know, nothing we can do about it. No, I mean, Wayne's been to Telford as well. So I think we'll wind it up there. Ladies, we'll just hold on to you for a wee second or two, Yvette, after we come off. So thanks for joining us. It's always
You're
a
welcome.
pleasure. I say we'll keep a hold of you just for a wee second or two after we go off. So everybody in the chat, thanks very much for coming in. I do realise it might be kind of late, especially for you, Wayne. I know you're definitely in the UK. We're back tomorrow night. No, we're not back. We're back tonight at 9 p.m. with a special tribute night for Colin, who sadly passed away in February. He was part of Caledonia paranormal team. So we're doing a special tribute live for him with Caledonia tomorrow night. But always excellent to see you, Yvette, because you're nuts, the same as Forrest. 2 years off the same cloth. See what I mean?
It's a good way to be.
I rest my case. So take care, everybody, for now. Bye.
See ya. Bye.